Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo. Bienvenidos. Hey, my name is Jedley. Welcome to Reading with Your Kids. We are beaming out to you and the entire planet from the beautiful, book-loving neighborhood of Reedville, the loveliest neighborhood in all of Boston. You know, I believe that real magic happens when we share stories together. When a child sits down with a parent, grandparent, or teacher and opens a book, hearts connect, imaginations grow, and love shines brighter. We are so very honored that you are joining us, and we hope that you'll help spread the word about the show by telling all of your family and friends that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network, and they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, Amazon Music, Audible, Castbox, Player FM, YouTube. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. We have a great show for you today. First up, Jessica Collins and Lisa Malamed are here to celebrate Where's Big Dog? And later in the show, Ellen Cochran will be here to celebrate Follow the Water. This episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by When Fred the Snake and Friends Go to the Beach, written by Dr. Peter Cotton. What if your next beach day turned into the adventure of a lifetime? And when Fred the Snake and Friends go to the beach, Fred and his friends are headed to the beautiful sea islands off the coast of South Carolina, where the sun is shining, the waves are rolling, and there's a whole world waiting to be explored. From sandy shores to ocean discoveries, Fred and his pals dive into the day with laughter, curiosity, and friendship. Whether they're exploring the coastline, meeting new sea creatures, or simply enjoying time together, every moment is a reminder that the best adventures are the ones we share. This is the fifth book in the beloved Fred the Snake series, where each story brings new places, new friends, and new opportunities to learn and grow. Written by Dr. Peter Cotton, renowned physician, teacher, and now gifted storyteller for children, these books continue to delight families with their warmth, imagination, and heart. So grab your towel, bring your imagination, and join Fred for a seaside adventure your families will treasure. Because with Fred the Snake, real magic happens when we choose kindness and become a friend. Join us right now from beautiful Los Angeles. Our guests are here today to celebrate their new picture book. It's called Where's Big Dog? Please first welcome to the show, Lisa Malamed. Lisa, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having us.
Also joining us is her co-author, Jessica Collins. Hey, Jessica, how are you?
I'm very happy to be here.
Tell me, Jessica, all about who Big Dog is.
Well, Where's Big Dog is inspired by my golden doodle, Lucy. 14 and a half years we had her. And one of the things you should know about Lisa and I as co-authors, we were also dear, dear friends. And so those 14 and a half years, Lisa was also very much part of Lucy's life. And we're all one big family. So we really, this book is about our beloved Lucy, and all the events in the book did happen to us. It's almost as if the story wrote itself in a way. And everything in the book is an event that we shared together.
Awesome.
Or on our own and called each other to say, hey, guess what happened today? Yes.
Now, Lisa, did you get a chance to babysit Lucy on occasion?
All the time, yes. When Jessica and her family would travel, Lucy would stay with me. And I will tell you how kind and wonderful Lucy was. Lucy always woke up earlier than I did. And she would come into my room, and rather than bark to wake me up, she would jiggle her collar. So I would be gently woken up by the sound of the tags jiggling together. She was that considerate a dog.
I love it. we don't have grandkids yet, but we do have grand dogs.
Oh, yes.
And we very often have to take, not have to, we very happily take care of my daughter's dog, Calvin. Oh. And he is also very considerate. Although he will come in the room. We usually take his collar off at night, but he will come in to the bedroom and, stand next to my face, and his face would be very close to my face. He won't wake me up. He'll be polite, but his breathing will eventually wake me up, and I'll wake up and see this big face in front of me.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Tug, the Golden Doodles, they're really phenomenally fun dogs. My godson has one, and they're very unique. Jessica, talk a little bit about the Doodle and what makes it so different than other dogs.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'll talk about my Doodle. I mean, and most of the Doodles I've met have been friendly and silly, great family dogs. I actually have a Doodle now. I have a Schnoodle. We found out we did a 21, not 21, we did the Embark for dogs, 21andMe for dogs. And found out he's Schnauzer and Schnoodle, and he's a silly dog as well. My golden doodle, Lucy, she was a love. I used to say Lucy was love. Lucy is love. She was kind and could be silly and funny. But you know, when you talk about man's best friend or woman's best friend or people's best friend, she really was all that and more. And Lisa, you have a wonderful thing you still say about Lucy.
You have to
that she never said anything obnoxious.
Oh, that's right. Yes. The reason that it's such a loss is that, you know, when you think back over time, she never said anything obnoxious to any of us.
Yes.
You know, there's only happy memories of her. But also I want to clarify that this book it's for all dogs.
Yeah, and it's for all pets. It's not even just for dogs.
That's true too, or actually all loss. But we were very deliberate in putting the book, when we put the book together. The dogs are not named. The dogs are not gendered.
Right.
We wanted to make sure that anyone who came upon the book would be able to put their own feelings onto it. So in some ways it's very, very specific, and in some ways it's very, very general.
Yeah. You know, Lisa, this is a really great resource for a family, because for a lot of kids, the first loss that they're going to experience in their life will be a pet, a dog, a cat, a goldfish, you know, and those relationships that kids have, are very real and need to be respected, and we need to help our kids get through them.
And that's one of the ways this book came about. Is I have now a 9-year-old daughter, and when this happened, she had just turned 7. This was her first experience with any kind of loss, and I always say that day, losing my Lucy wasn't the worst moment, if that's even possible. The worst moment was having to tell my daughter when she got home from school. And it was devastating, as anyone who's gone through it understands. And I've always parented with the help of books. I love books. I love to read. She loves to, our family reads. And this book was really something that we came up with in a way for her to help make sense of this on a very simple, loving way, level, and to give her hope and comfort and not just be sad. And I think as it was coming together, we realized, oh, this isn't just a book for kids. You know, this is a book. In fact, at this moment, I think more adults have read the book. It's early. The book's coming out March 24th of this year, 2026, but more adults have read it, and we're getting the most incredible response from people saying it did in fact bring them some comfort, whatever kind of, you know, some people have cats that have read the book. Some people have had fish. It doesn't matter what kind of, it's the love for a pet that is so special and so specific and so pure. And I think people are connecting with that.
Yeah.
And we're hoping too, because there really isn't a protocol for expressing sympathy for the loss of a pet necessarily. When a person dies, you know what to do. You send flowers, you send food, you make a donation, you show up. And it feels like people are a little bit withholding or self-conscious about how to acknowledge that loss and the size of the loss. And so what we're hoping is that the book effectively becomes a sympathy card that you could send, and hopefully that an adult would send to an adult or to a family. So we wanted to move a little bit out of the kids' book space and into the example I always use, and I say this with all humility and not in any way to compare ourselves to Dr. Seuss. And I turned a significant age not long ago. One of my friends gave me "Oh, the Places You'll Go" as a gift. And I thought that was so wonderful and kind of spirited. And it was lovely to get a kid's book as a gift. And so we're really hoping that our book goes out into the world that way as well.
Yeah, I mean, giving adults kids books is a wonderful, wonderful gesture, and I'll be honest with you, I am much more likely to read a kid's book that someone gives me as opposed to reading a 300 to 400 page book that
That's so true. Yeah.
had no, interest in before it came in the mail. Jessica, you wrote this book for, in response to the loss that your daughter experienced. And, as Lisa said, this could be that sympathy card that we share with families or friends that lose a dog. But talk a little bit, please, about, do you see any value for a family that has a pet to have this book in the house to, the dog's healthy. Everybody's living in life and we don't see, our having to say goodbye to the dog in the near future or in the future at all. But, boy, this is a good book that maybe we want to read and just kind of think, well, this is a reality that might happen.
That is a wonderful question you're asking. And I'm glad you asked it, because I would say, yes, you think, wow, I don't really want this book until I need it. Right. But I think in reading it long before that time, and I'm going to try to say this without crying, what it does is it sets you in the present to really appreciate all that love now. Because what you're going to face later, that's only because you had all this wonderful time and shared all this big love. And I think reading the book while your pet is still healthy and well and very much with you, it can be a reminder that every day is special. It's so unfair. They don't get as much time on this earth as we do. And I think they make the most of it. I do think we can learn a lot from our pets about just enjoy every day and enjoy that love. And when your dog is wagging their tail and looking at you, or when your cat comes up and wants to sit with you, take that time to be with them, because one day they won't be there. And so, yes, I hope it just helps families appreciate the moment. And of course, every family has to look at the book and decide when the right time is and how old their kids are and the messages that they want to present them with. But I do think it's a book for any age, really. I think what we said, four and up. Yeah. Four to infinity. Four to infinity. And maybe even less than that. It's a very, we keep using the word gentle because it is a gentle book. We're not teaching anybody anything they don't already know. This is a tough subject. This is a hard subject to talk about, because I think the feelings can be as big as the death of a grandparent or a parent or a friend. And I think many times we're embarrassed to say, no, this hurts as much as someone I lost, a human that I lost. And there is that phrase, oh, it's just a dog. It's just a cat. It's just a fish. It's just, well, maybe not to the person that, they are part of the family.
Sure.
And so I think this book in a very gentle way allows families, children, and adults to acknowledge that these are big feelings. But, oh, here comes one of the stars of,
I think, yes.
Where's Big Dog now? That's Little Dog walking behind me. You hear some pitter patter in the background. Yes, but it gives us sort of I think the book allows a connection with all of us to say, yeah, I've been through that, or I'm worried about that. I know that day's coming. When Lucy lived to be 14 and a half, and you know this, Lisa, when she was 7, I went to the vet and he said, well, she's a senior dog now. And I cried all the way home. And I ended up having double that time with her. But knowing that, oh gosh, she's not going to be here forever. There are those moments, even when they're puppies, that you worry about that and you try not to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a narrator in the book who goes through the loss, who is the proxy for Jessica, for her daughter, for us. Again, we could have made her a little bit ageless. So if someone is reading it while their dog is still with them, it's about them.
Uh-huh.
Then once they experience the loss, it's about me.
Yeah.
So I think you can take the book in both those ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, Lisa, I think is important, and we've celebrated this on the podcast a lot, is having a book like this, reading with our kids. It builds a lot of empathy. It really helps kids become empathetic. And if your family doesn't have a pet, or if you have a pet that's nice and healthy, the chances are one of your kids' classmates is going to experience the loss of a pet. And this could be the book that helps your kid be the kind of friend to their classmate that classmate really needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also, I think, sometimes kids are really smart. Kids are really smart. And as their animals start getting older, and even when they're young, kids understand, like you're saying, maybe they have a friend at school whose pet just died. And so that puts in their mind that, wow, one day that's going to happen to me. My beloved dog. I mean, dogs and cats and pets can feel like siblings to kids. I know for sure in our house, all the dogs, my daughter sees them as her brothers and sisters.
Sure.
So I think the book can also bring some comfort before the time comes, where there is a loss of the pet.
Yeah.
And the comfort is from knowing that they're never not with you. They change form, but they are going to always be with you. That love isn't going anywhere. And I would even say it gets stronger after they go, if that's possible.
Jessica, we've dealt with the issue of grief a lot here on the podcast. We've done over 2,000 episodes here. One of the things, and I had a conversation with my niece about relationships. Every relationship, when you think about it, every relationship is going to end in sadness for someone. If you break up, or if someone dies, or if they move away, there's going to be sadness. And I think for a lot of kids, I know for my niece, hearing that, she's like, "Oh, don't tell me that. Why am I going to be friends with anybody? I don't want to be her."
Yes.
And but I think reading Where's Big Dog with our kids can help our kids understand that, yeah, it hurts. And anytime you love somebody, you're taking a risk of experiencing that hurt, but it's worth it because of all the love you're going to experience together.
It's absolutely worth it. It's why we do it again and again. It's why we lose our pet and we go, never again. And then 2 years later, or however long it is.
2 years.
I know. It was not that long. I'm being generous, but sometimes it's two weeks later,
Right.
whatever, there's no right time for that. But, we open our hearts again, or we find the strength to open our hearts again and go through it again. And, death is absolutely part of life. And it is something that it can be uncomfortable to talk about, but it is part of life, and it shouldn't be feared.
Right.
I don't think. And I think with our children, sometimes they can fear something and not tell us about it because they don't know what it is. And they're afraid if they find out, it's going to be even scarier than they imagined.
Right.
And, gosh, I would hope our book could help put some of that fear, to rest with them and to help them know that it is part of life. And, it's the price we pay for all that love. And I gotta say, I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
I would do every moment again.
Yeah.
For that love that I had for 14 and a half years.
Yeah.
And I've got two dogs now, one day, but I love them every day. And I try to really connect with them every day as they do with me. I mean, Animals do that. Animals know. And I really think it's because they have such a short time on earth. They don't have time to be mad or hold grudges or give you the silent treatment or any of the things we humans do. They've got, look, I've got this amount of time. I'm just going to love you up and be happy. And every time I see you, it's the greatest thing ever. And that's why it's so hard when we lose them, because it's a very, very special, pure, beautiful kind of love that they give us.
Yeah. Like Lisa said, they don't have time to be obnoxious.
They don't even know how to be obnoxious.
Lucy never insulted me.
Never.
And we gave the book a subtitle for a couple of reasons. So when you see the cover of our book, it's Where's Big Dog? And underneath it says A Story of Loss and Love. And I will say two things about that. One is we put that there so that no one is confused about what the book is about. We want anybody to pick it up and think, oh, is Big Dog hiding behind the bed? We wanted to be very clear of what this book is. But we were very deliberate in saying loss and love.
Yes.
So the love is where you land.
Yeah.
That's where you land.
There you go. I love it. Will this team collaborate on future books together?
To be determined.
We'll see. I would love to. We don't even have this one out yet, but that would be a dream.
It was a wonderful process.
It was a wonderful process. Yes.
Process. I had a friend who published a book with Indigo River, and we took the book to them, and they were immediately responsive and wonderful. And they are a small independent publishing company. They're distributed by Simon and Schuster. So I think we got the advantage of working with a small company to be very hands-on and in the process, and then hopefully the advantage of a bigger company in terms of getting the book into the world.
Awesome.
And we also have, a little bit of history on us. We met in the entertainment business. Lisa is an amazing writer. I'm an actress. We met 20 years ago on a show. I think we've worked together with three more times in that time, which is a lot to repeat. Work with. And so the book, and we are dear, dear, dear friends. Lisa is part of the family, as you well know, Lisa. And so the fact that we wrote this book together feels very natural to me and very right. And I can't imagine it without Lisa, really. I can't imagine us doing it on our own. And we had an amazing time. I mean, this is our first book, both of us, having never been in this world and being welcomed so beautifully into this world. The whole experience has been amazing. And to answer your question, I'd love to write another book with Lisa.
Awesome. Well, I hope I gave you the push to get the next.
Yeah. Well,
We've got to figure out now what happens to little dog now.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. Lisa, I'm sorry, Jessica, I'm able to, you're allowing me to look into your house and it's cute and we saw a little dog. I also noticed, is that an Emmy over your shoulder there?
There is an Emmy over. There's dog over one shoulder and an Emmy over another. And my daughter's up there somewhere. Yes. Yes. That is my, my wall of lovely things.
Well, I'm really happy that it seems like your dog and your daughter are a little bit a higher podium than the Emmy. Yes, they are higher up. Yes,
absolutely. Great. Yes.
Lisa, tell us where we can go to find out more about Where's Big Dog, and also if you have your own website, where we can go to find out more about you.
I actually don't. So, but I guess you can look on IMDb and see what I've worked on and hopefully watch a couple of things. Where's Big Dog on Instagram? Look up Where's Big Dog.
Great.
We're a little slow on the uptake we're going to get a Facebook page together soon. But right now the book is available to pre-order anywhere that you want to get a book.
Great.
Find it at Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Target. And I have an Instagram page that's very active. Ms. Jessica Collins, MS Jessica Collins, where anything happening with the book, I'll put there as well. And then follow it to at Where's Big Dog on Instagram.
Excellent.
And I hope people will follow us because, we're going to be doing different things. We want to hear from other pet owners. We want to hear once they read the book and see what it's about, we want to hear other people's experiences. We're hoping they'll send us photos and tell us their stories and share those with us. And we'd like to put them on Instagram as well if they'll allow us.
Right, because the book does answer the question of Where's Big Dog.
Oh, good.
So,
good.
And we want to hear where everybody else is.
Well,
so
I think Where's Big Dog is probably up playing with my dogs, Augie and Buddy and London and Lady and Barabbas and Katie and all those other ones I've had in my almost 100 years. We've had a great time speaking to the authors of Where's Big Dog, Jessica Collins and Lisa Malamed. Hey, my friends, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Hey, my friends, I have a super idea you are going to love. How about this weekend, turn your backyard cookout into a storybook celebration. Fire up the grill, crack open a few of your favorite picture books, and serve up Big Fork Brand's legendary bacon sausage. Made with nitrate-free bacon and premium pork, it's juicy, smoky, and unforgettable. Top it off with Big Fork's spicy Chicago fire sauce, and you've got a meal as bold as the characters in your favorite bedtime tale. Get 20% off your order using the promo code READ at bigforkbrands.com. That's bigforkbrands.com. Promo code READ to get 20% off. Because nothing brings families together like great food, great books, and a whole lot of flavor. Big Fork Brands. Read, grill, repeat.
Attention, this important consumer alert is brought to you by CBC Funding. Hey, did you know it's possible to receive upfront money from your structured settlement, annuity, or pending lawsuit? It's true. If you are receiving a structured settlement spread out over time and you want a lump sum amount delivered immediately, then you need to call CBC Funding. With your cash today, you can pay off credit card debt, pay medical bills, fund your education, or improve your home. You don't need to wait. Structured settlements are commonly used to resolve personal injury lawsuits. Annuities, they're designed to spread payments out over 10 or 20 years. For many of you in need of money today, this simply does not work. If you have a structured settlement and you want cash now, call CBC's Settlement Funding. Here's the number.
800-442-0665. 800-442-0665. That's 800-442-0665.
Hey, this episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by AspireDrinks.com. Hey, I have a quick question for you. Have you ever wanted a little extra energy, but not the kind that makes your heart race or leaves you crashing an hour later? Well, that's exactly why I want to tell you about Aspire drinks. You'll find them at aspiredrinks.com. Aspire calls itself a healthy energy drink, and honestly, that description really fits. Instead of loading you up with sugar or extreme caffeine, Aspire delivers a gentle, steady boost with 80 milligrams of natural caffeine from green tea and guarana. That's about half the caffeine of most energy drinks, enough to help you stay focused without the jitters or the crash. It's also zero sugar, 0 calories, and 0 artificial additives, which makes it a great choice for parents, teachers, and anyone trying to make healthier choices while still getting things done. And get this, it actually tastes great, light, crisp, and lightly sparkling, with flavors like sweet cherry, raspberry acai, mango lemonade. That's what I love. No heavy aftertaste and easy on the stomach. Aspire is packed with B and C vitamins, biotin, and ginger. And it's vegan, gluten-free, keto-friendly, really designed for real life. And just for Reading with Your Kids listeners, you can get an exclusive discount of 20% off. That's the highest discount available when you shop at aspiredrinks.com and use our promo code READ. That's READ at aspiredrinks.com. Healthy energy done right. Join us right now from Northern California. Our guest is here today to celebrate her middle grade novel, her riveting middle grade novel. It's called Follow the Water, the unbelievable true story of a teenager's survival in the Amazon. Please welcome to the show, Ellen Cochran. Hey, Ellen, how are you?
Oh, Jed, I'm just great. And thanks for having me. And hello to all your listeners.
I'm excited. Now, you weren't the teenager that was had to survive being stranded in the Amazon.
No, absolutely not. And it's a little bit of a complicated story. I'll just start with my personal story, which was I was an exchange student in high school to Peru. And I didn't know it, but my path in Peru was parallel to the main person in the story. I lived in the same city that she lived in, near the same neighborhood, and I traveled on the exact same flight that she had her perilous accident in. And so there were a lot of parallels, and I'd read a little bit about her at the time that I went to Peru, kind of tucked it away, in my quiver, didn't really think about it. COVID came along, and I'd always been a journal keeper, and like the rest of the United States, we started cleaning out our closets, got these journals, I started reading through them, and I remembered her story. Coincidentally, I was also finishing a master's in science writing. And so I went back into her story, dug into it, and began to write about her. It turned into my master's thesis, which morphed into selling the book. So who is she? She is this wonderful person. Her name's Julianne Kopecky, and she's the daughter of research scientists from Germany who had a research station in the middle of the Amazon jungle in Peru. And she was doing some of her education in high school in Lima, Peru. And it was Christmas time, and she was going back to the jungle where she had spent many, many years as a youngster to celebrate Christmas. And they got on a plane, they crossed the Andes, okay, but they hit an enormous thunderstorm, and their plane was struck by lightning. The wing fell off. The plane basically burst into pieces. And Julianne fell 2 miles, still strapped to her seat, crashed through the overstory and understory, landed with pretty severe injuries. But this, maybe soaking wet, 120-pound, 17-year-old girl crawled out of that seat and walked 11 days in pristine Amazon to safety. And it's just an incredible adventure of grit, determination, and using her education from her scientific parents about logical process type thinking, and just grit to do this rigorous journey to bring herself to safety. And also the emotional tragical thing was that her mother had been sitting right next to her, and she was the sole survivor on the plane.
My goodness, that must have been incredibly difficult. Not only difficult in terms of getting yourself through the Amazon, but having to do that while grieving the loss of your mom.
Absolutely. When she, I do want to say something first before we continue. I worked really hard to honor the story because it's not my story. It's Julianne's story. And she's still living. And she does not talk to writers, journalists, anybody who has queries about her story. What she's devoted her life to is expanding the research station. It's called Penguana in Peru. And she, doesn't give interviews. After it first happened, she did give interviews, but she was stung by some super aggressive journalists and had some very bad experiences. So she wouldn't talk to me. So I had to use Spanish language skills, my skills as a science writer, and do everything I could to get information about her and, of course, in the Amazon to complete the book. But it is her story, and I tried my hardest to honor that. In the early part of this century, she did write a autobiography for adults, and I read that very carefully and made sure that I was true and honest to her experience. So I feel I did a good job in telling the experience for middle grade readers in a way that also enhances and gives them a great introduction and experience to the flora and fauna of the Amazon.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the environment she had to survive in. Did you have a chance to go down and visit that part of the world?
Yes.
That's right. You studied down there. That's right.
Yes, I was, her research station is, I don't know if our listeners will be familiar with the Amazon, but Lima's the capital. It's on the coast. You have to go over the Andes to get into the Amazon part. And there's a town called Iquitos, which is kind of the gateway to the Amazon for a lot of visitors. That's where I went. But her family research station was about halfway there, not next to, but near a town called Pucallpa. And it was deep, deep into the forest. So yes, I was in the area, but of course not where she grew up or had to survive, because that is pristine forest still to this day.
Yeah. Now, when you mention pristine, there's no roads, there's no anything except nature.
Where she fell, absolutely. There even were not any indigenous people local to that area. Her plane crashed in absolute jungle.
Wow. Incredible. And not only did she have to deal with the fact that she was lost and stranded in this area, but there's a lot of danger. There are a lot of animals and whatnot that she had to cope with, I imagine.
She did. She had to cope with poisonous snakes like the bushmaster, jaguars creep and hunt through that area. Plants are poisonous, and she had to rely on the skills that her parents gave her about the in native and indigenous plants in the area to not kill herself, basically. She knew what to eat, where to go, how to step carefully. And, grown men who have survival training, and I say men just because of muscle mass and the ability to survive perhaps in that way by pure strength, cannot do this very easily. And she had on a mini dress and one sandal. Her glasses were gone. Everything else about her was gone. Anything else that she had that could have helped her. She basically walked out barefoot.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
Follow the Water. That's an interesting title.
Yes, it comes from reporting or expressing that she did about how she oriented herself. So she remembered very clearly her father said, if you ever get lost in the Amazon, look for water. And if you watch the flow from this side of the Amazon where their research station was located and subsequently near where she crashed, if you follow that water, it'll lead to larger water and eventually it'll flow together and you'll come to civilization. So that was the tack that she took. And where she crashed, there was immediately no river, but she had to suss out a little bubbling spring and follow that to a rivulet. And finally she was able to get to some rivers. She walked and she floated. She floated past Black Cayman and had, some encounters with them. And, this is an area where there are piranhas in the water. So she made it through that, just by, grit and determination.
Wow. When I was 10 or 11, I was in the Adirondacks camping with my family, and our dog ran into the woods, and I went after him. And when I finally caught up to her, and turned around, I had no idea where I was, and I was lost on top of that mountain for about 12 hours or so. And I did the same. I said, I heard something. I thought it was a river. I goes, well, I'll go down and follow the river. That way I'm not going to be walking around in circles. Turned out I heard the highway, which was fortuitous. And eventually, after a number of hours, a New York State trooper came by and said, hey, are you the kid from Boston we're looking for? And I'm like, well, I'm from Boston. I'm lost, I guess. And he said, come on in. And we jumped in the car, and he goes, oh, no, you guys smell. Get out. It's only a mile. Just keep walking. So I certainly can't relate to being in caiman infested and piranha infested waters, but I can guess at how scared Juliana might have been during her ordeal.
Oh, it must have been terrifying. Everything is stripped away. You're in crisis because your mother is lost, potentially dead, and you are all alone. There are no humans around you, and there are thousands of eyes that are looking at you, insect eyes, reptile eyes, and you're aware of that because you've been, educated by scientific parents, and the peril you're in. It wasn't as if she didn't have that inner knowledge, didn't understand the nature around her. She understood. This is life or death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any idea where she was able to find the grit to bring herself to safety?
Well, I think a lot of it probably was her character, her personal character, but her parents gave her a mentoring opportunity that some of us can only dream of, with structured instruction about how to live in this type of environment, because she did spend many years prior to going back to high school in this environment, learning about everything and living basically in a hut on stilts on a river where the research station was. So she was prepped for survival. But, your experience in the woods, when something like this happens, it just knocks you off your kilter. And it takes some type of character to orient yourself and be able to think again, to not panic and to get yourself out of it.
Yeah. I imagine that would be the first thing that would happen to most people, is they would panic and forget whatever survival skills they may have learned.
Oh yeah, panic. That's anxiety and panic. That's part of our human experience. I guess there's a biological reason for it, but it doesn't help you when you're lost.
Not at all. How was it writing this story without being able to speak to Juliana?
It was very frustrating. I tried very hard. I reached out to her agent. There's a foundation that runs the research station now, and I reached out to them, and they were lovely people. And they tried on my behalf, but she respectfully declined. So I just had to put my journalistic skills and research skills into action to complete the story. But I had a mission when I was writing it. I wanted this story. It's been told many times. If you go on the internet, you'll see descriptions, and there's been other books for younger people. But I wanted middle grade. I was expressly interested in, at this time, to write a story that would help young people know that right now in our present time, there's a lot of opinion that is forming how we are going to go forward with science as opposed to fact and research. Give kids the opportunity to know that they can become scientists. This is what it is. These are the type of thought processes that go into scientific thinking, and that also you can think about it as a career. And the way I did that was I told her story, but I also have, I guess, what you would call sidebars imprinted in the book, which tell about all the creatures. I talk about TD. I talk about her injuries in a more clinical medical type of way. I talk about her psychology. And then at the end of the book, I tell young people, how can you be a scientist? These are the steps. These are the organizations. Want to be a naturalist? Reach out here. So I'm hoping that this book, even though I couldn't talk to her, reaches an audience that gives them a whopping good story, but also information about, hey, how do I do this type of thing? I don't mean crash in the Amazon and survive, but how do I become a scientist?
I was going to say, I think a lot of kids might pick up the book and say, no, thank you. I'll pass on that.
No, I think the evolving story gives them, a really truthful look about what it means to be a scientist. And, we need young people to understand that they need to go into these careers and keep the integrity and the rigor and anything that might not be happening today in today's world, to be ready to repair it and to go forward into a more positive future.
Yeah. You seem to have a passion for inspiring kids to check out the STEM fields and learn more about science. Where did that passion come from?
I've always been interested in nature, and my personal journey was I was going to be a science major, and I did 2 years of undergraduate prepping for zoology here in California for one of the UCs. But when I got to the UC, I took this little funny class called Russian 1 with this very dynamic professor. And then next thing I knew, I was changing my major to Russian studies. So I ended up with a Russian degree. And I worked over in what was then the former Soviet Union, actually. And I was interested in writing, and so I just kind of had a career of writing and languages and kept the Spanish up, and eventually became a teacher. I found that I enjoyed middle school, and I taught for 20 years, but I always kept writing. And I noticed, got my California Naturalist certification, and then I just noticed that I was writing, and it was all kind of going in one direction. So I just, I'm not going to ever be a scientist. It's kind of too late for that, but I can try and inspire people, and I can write about science and write about the natural world.
Yeah. Hey, well, I'm curious. One of the things that we haven't talked about, we talked about the fact that Juliana's parents had this research going on, and that she's continued it, and that there's a foundation. What are they researching?
Boy, everything that you can find in the Amazon. Her mother was a very well-known ornithologist, and she focused on the birds, and that work does continue. She also was an extremely talented artist, and Peru has made some stamps in the past based on her work. Her father was more of a generalist and was doing like a survey of the natural world that he encountered there. Julianne went back and first studied butterflies, I believe, and then she transferred to bats, and she wrote extensively about the bats of the Amazon. She ended up marrying another scientist, and he's a moth expert. So when they go back to visit, they focus on that. But the thing about what she's done is she's kept it a research station, and it is world-renowned for Amazon studies. And so people come from all over the world with their particular interests in that area, whether it's larger mammals or insects or botany. They come and they stay there, and it's not like it was when she was young, when it was just a real camp experience. They have satellite, they have beds now, they're not sleeping on cots, they have a kitchen. They do work with the local schools. Julian's very intimately involved in that. And one of the things that she has done is that she's increased the acreage every year through the foundation, basically. They'll take donations, and she just continues expanding. She has good support from the Peruvian government. They understand her mission, and she works really well with them. They have challenges, like we know about in the Amazon. There's illegal mining, the illegal lumber. You can encounter people who will challenge your personal mission, or hers, which is very different from what they want out of the Amazon. But one of the things I did, because I really believe in what she is doing and in this story, is that I decided to tie the small amount of the book, 10% of all profits, go to the Penguana Foundation with the express request that they help with education of the young people in the area, who are they're now the stewards of the area too.
Fantastic. I know Juliana didn't want to have an interview, but any word of what she thinks about your novel?
No, I haven't anything yet. It's not actually released. She wasn't, I didn't get a letter back saying, don't you write this? This is, I already wrote it, or, I don't care if it's for young people. No, none of that. And they were, the foundation has been very, very lovely to me and communicates, with her, but she has not said anything specifically about the book.
Yeah. I'm curious, what are you working on for future projects?
Oh, well, I've got a great project I'm working on. It's called The Siberian. And Julianne, her story is narrative nonfiction, which is novel length, and it's a story, but it's based on fact. And what I'm writing now is fiction. And it's called The Siberian, and it's based on the far east of Siberia, where the tigers are facing great challenges for survival. And it's young people who have to face some serious challenges for survival, and it involves a tiger. And I'm very excited about writing it. And right now, there's some interesting things going on with the tigers in the Far East, because they have challenges with lack of food resources, because there's a swine flu that's in the area, and there's a reduction in the population of some of the wild boar and pigs, basically. And so they're struggling, but it's a very difficult thing to understand and to acknowledge, but it kind of took a dictator to help save this tiger, because it turned out that the current leader, Putin, became rather enchanted with the Amur tiger and decided that he would put some support and effort and attention into preventing the slaughter. And now, because of that effort, there are about 500 tigers that are alive and surviving in the Far East of Russia. And it turned out that Xi also has become somewhat interested in keeping the population up. So far, the tiger's doing okay. And whether you like it or not, you can attribute it to two dictators at this point. But hopefully that continues.
Let's tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Follow the Water and find out more about you.
Sure. So Follow the Water is coming out on March 17th. And it's available through independent bookstores. Your local bookstore will have it. I'm a big fan of indies, so if you can find that. If you're in an area where you only get Amazon, sure, you can order it on Amazon too. And you can also pre-order it if you're interested in lining it up for getting it right on the 17th.
Excellent. We've had a great time speaking to the author of Follow the Water. Our guest has been Ellen Cochran. Hey, Ellen, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. And yes, read with your kids. It's so cozy and it's such a fun experience.
Hey, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids. Well, join us for the next exciting episode of the show. If this episode made you smile or gave you something to think about, especially if you know somebody who's going through the real difficult time of losing a pet, please consider sharing a link to the show to that person that you love. Also, if you could, leave us a 5-star review. That would make us incredibly happy, and we would really love it if you could subscribe to the show. And while we're at it, we'd love it if you could connect with us on social media. Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, @readingwithyourkids on Instagram, @JegleyMagic on X, and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids. Oh, our website, readingwithyourkids.com. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guests, Lisa Malamed and Jessica Collins. Please be sure to check out Where's Big Dog. Also want to thank Ellen Cochran. Please be sure to check out Follow the Water. I want to thank my team, Chris Doherty, Jackson Saltalera, I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so very much for taking the time to join us today. And thank you so very, very much for taking the time to make the world a better place. And you do that every single time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.